Welcome to this month's technical training meeting. Appreciate you guys joining us. Here's today's agenda. As always, we've got some training opportunities that I'll go through here in a second, and then just a couple reminders about some things. We'll do our production update. And then our main topic today is some certification updates, and also we threw in some updates we found out about with some DOPL licensing changes that we feel like are pertinent. So, but Wade's going to kind of walk us through what's going on with the BPI and kind of DOE's direction for certifications going forward. So that'll be the meat of today. All right, and I suspect we're going to have a little extra time today, so please feel free when there is time for questions, ask them if you have them, because especially as we're getting into the certifications, we want to make sure everybody has a really clear understanding of what's going on there. But anyway, let's go ahead and get started. So training opportunities. Brad asked me to remind you guys that your agencies were given plenty of TNTA money. So you are, encouraged to take advantage of any training opportunities that you think will help either your agency, or if you have someone specifically at your agency who could benefit from some of these things. We have the funding there so that you guys can make those, improvements, take those opportunities to learn. So a couple of opportunities that are coming up. There's the 2019 National Home Performance Conference. It's in Chicago and it's in April. So if you're interested in going, you need to jump on that right away. I think this is one that DOE sponsors, or basically allows us to, they usually send out a letter and say it's okay for you to spend your TNTA funding on that. But anyway, if that's something that would help you or someone in your agency, give that some consideration. That is a great conference. I've been to the National Home Performance Conference, I think, twice. They offer a wide range of things that really run the whole gamut of weatherization. So it could be a good opportunity for a few of you out there. And again, just a reminder, on any of these out-of-state things, you do have to get state approval. So you would have to get a letter from Brad saying it's okay to go, but I know he would encourage, some of you to actually go and attend some of that stuff. Another one that I wasn't really aware of, Brad mentioned this one. It's called Habitat X, and you can find it at habitatx.com. It's in Bozeman, Montana, and it's in June, and they cover home energy, home health, and building performance, and a bunch of other things. So that might be a good one as well if you're looking for some opportunities. Some of the things you'll get from these conferences, I know from the National Home Performance Conference, you'll get, if you need a bunch of CEUs for any of your BPI certifications, that's a great opportunity to get probably all of the ones that you would need, or most of them. Also, if you have any of your qualifiers for your general contractor's licenses, or any of your specialty contractor's licenses, if you need some of those, sometimes some of these conferences can cover that stuff as well. So, but along those lines, if you are needing CEUs, if these don't cover it, just take stock of where you're at. If you need CEUs for any of your certifications, make sure that you're staying on top of that. The other training opportunity, this one's been on here for a while. I'm finally going to open up the registration today for it. So this is we're going to do a NEAT MIA 101 class. We're going to do it in April. It's going to be toward the end of April, so it's like a month and a half from now. And this is for auditors in training and QCIs. Just quickly, are you guys still able to hear me?
I can still hear you.
Okay, cool. I just had somebody calling in, so I was worried that. And are you guys able to see the screen? I want to make sure everybody's able to see what I'm doing. Anybody's having?
I can see your screen.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, we can see it.
Perfect. So yeah, we're doing the NEAT MIA 101 class. Who's this for? This is for if you're an auditor in training and you'd like to know more about how to run the NEAT MIA audit tool. We are This is a 3-day class, and we will go through basically every field in the audit tool. We will go out into the training house. So we are doing this at the training center. We'll go out into the training house. We'll collect data about the house. We will come back in the classroom. We will put that data in. We will run a full audit. We'll put together an entire audit file with our photos, with all of the forms and documents that have to be in an audit file. We run one entire audit, and we go through every aspect of the audit so that you should walk away from that class with a pretty clear understanding of how the audit works, why we run the audit the way we run it. We go through a lot of the guidelines where we get very specific about how you have to run an audit. So if you're an auditor in training, or would like to be an auditor in training, or one of the main reasons we need to run this class, and we'll have to run it. We'll run it this year, and depending on how the schedule goes, we'll definitely be running it next year. But we may not run it again until next spring. So please kind of plan accordingly, because if you're a QCI, the next time you renew your QCI, which Wade's going to go cover this in more detail later, but you will have to get your energy auditor certification, and in order to get it, as of 4 days ago, you now have to run 10 audits. So if you haven't run any audits, or you're new to running audits, this is the class for you. What you have to do to get registered is you have to send me an email. And that email just needs to let me know that you would like to come to the class and that you have your coordinator's permission. The other thing you've got to do is before you come to the class, so sometime in the next month and a half, you need to sit down and you need to run at least one audit, and you're going to send me a copy of that audit. And this is just a prerequisite for the class. Basically, we are going to cover a ton of stuff, but if you've never looked at the audit, you're not going to get a lot out of the class. If you've at least tried to muddle your way through the audit one time, you'll get so much more out of the class than if you've never looked at it. So anybody who attends, I want you to at least have gone through the audit once. You know, if you need help doing that, I think every single agency has someone who can help them at their agency to get started and kind of give them a little direction. So any questions on that one? All right, so again, just send me an email today or in the coming weeks. I will probably close registration during our next technical meeting, so just get those requests or registrations in emails into me. And this one can be a larger class. We will run it if we have 3 or 4 people, and I'll probably limit it at about 25 because we can do a bigger group with this one. So anyway, is anybody aware of any other training opportunities that would be beneficial for the group to know about? Anything else that's going on that anybody's taking advantage of? All right. A couple of just new business things. Our next technical meeting will be the first Tuesday in April, which is April 2nd. Coming up in a couple of weeks, we do have our coordinators meeting and our public hearing, which is on March 21st. I think all of the coordinators should have received an email about that with an agenda. So if you haven't looked at that, take a moment to look at it. Make sure it's on your calendar. It is going to be down in Provo at the Mountain Land, the new Mountain Land Association of Government there. Well, the new Weatherization office there.
It's in Vineyard.
Vineyard, yeah. Vineyard, Provo. They're both the same, right? No. If you can find your way to Provo, you should be close enough. You'll be able to find it. And then peer exchange. Wade, you want to say anything about the peer exchange?
Yeah, just y'all know peer exchange is open. Turner, maybe you can hop on the Google Drive real quick and just put the peer exchange sign-up sheet on your screen for me.
Sure. Possibly.
Possibly. It's tricky. I know.
It's called peer exchange.
Peer should be shared with you.
Yeah. Peer exchange.
Peer exchange.
Sign-up sheet.
Sign-up sheet. Thank you. So far we've had one response to peer exchange. I know it's early in the game, so we're hoping for more. But again, this is your guys' baby. Last year, the responses were 100% positive. There was no negative feedback about peer exchange. Everything was 100% positive. We had every single person who participated last year respond to our survey, 100% positive. So we're going to let you guys run it the way you want to run it this year. I sent out the email with the 3 rules, pretty basic stuff. But again, this is an opportunity to think strategically. How can I use this tool to help my agency? Are you behind on audits? Maybe peer exchange with some auditors. You got new field guys who need in the trenches experience that you just can't get at the training center. Take advantage of it. Are you a new coordinator that needs to see how a veteran coordinator gets through the day? Take advantage of this peer exchange to do that. Basically, that's all I got to say about it. If you guys want to keep doing it, that's up to you. If it dies, that's up to you. The onus is on you guys.
So if I have something negative to say about it, am I allowed to say that?
Yeah,
does
absolutely.
It have to be 100% positive?
when peer exchange is kind of all done or whatever, or even now, I'll even put in a survey now that you can start. If you have something negative to say about peer exchange, by all means, say something. Say something. We don't care what you say, just say something.
I don't have anything negative to say about it. I was just wondering. Awesome. Thanks, Wade. Any questions about peer exchange or concerns or anything that you guys would like to bring up? All right. Last thing before we get into kind of the main topic is just an update on production. So we didn't have this meeting in February, so we didn't do a January production update. But I've got January and February here on the screen. These are the same graphs or charts I've been using all year long. So the light green, this just shows like a 4-year average. Or sorry, no, that's the next screen. This shows what we should be getting. This shows the light green is what our goals were. So every agency at the beginning of the year set some goals. And then the dark green shows what we've actually done. These are for weatherization completions. So in January, if every agency met their goal, we should have gotten 40 completions. We only got 27. In February, if everybody met their goal, we should have had 51, and we only had 30. And then the screen over here on the right-hand side, it shows where we should be for the year, so kind of a running total. So in January, we should have been up to 298 units, and we only have 219 turned in. And then by the end of February, we should have been at 349, and we're a full 100 units behind where we should be. So you can see everybody is behind, and we need to catch up. I believe we have an opportunity to catch up, well, as we look at the next screen, you'll see we do have an opportunity to catch up because we should kind of come out of the heat season a little bit, but you'll also notice that this is the time of year where every agency has set the bar very high for themselves. So you guys already have high goals, but if history repeats itself, you should get a little reprieve, at least from the heat calls coming into the spring. So this is the chart on the left is our crisis completions, and this is the light blue is the last 4 years. So on average, over the last 4 years, this is the number of crisis completions we've been turning in. And then the dark blue in the front is the number of crisis completions we've actually done this year. So anyway, it's just kind of interesting. You can see that, you know, at some point we hit a spike here on average. It looks like we hit that a little early this year. But in January and February, normally, you know, there was that bigger spike. We served, or we did 41 crisis completions. In February, we landed right on the historic average at 43. So hopefully we'll see a little decline there, which will allow you guys to focus on some more weatherization completions. And then on the right, I've been sharing this total clients served, and it's kind of because we are receiving I think we're doing a few more crisis completions than we have in the past. And so this just kind of lets us look at an unduplicated count. So light purple in the back, historically, in January, on average, we would we would serve 62 clients. This January, our program served 39. Historically, in February, we would serve 60, and this February, we served 53. So we are serving fewer clients. We are, we may be doing more work for those clients where we're addressing more water heaters and crisis stuff that we more than we've had in the past. But anyway, just FYI, that's kind of where we're at. Hopefully this helps you guys as you're looking ahead and trying to figure out how to get back on track and how to finish out the year strong. Thank you guys to everybody who is meeting their goals. Back here on the weatherization completions, I wanted to just thank Utah Community Action, the guys in Salt Lake. They've actually hit their goal for the last 3 months in a row.
Congratulations.
Other agencies have hit their goals on some of those months, but they are the one agency that has hit it every month for the last 3 months, so we really appreciate that. With that, though, where we are behind, your agencies have to do more than just hit the goals that you set at the beginning of the year. So please make sure that you're taking the time to adjust your goals. Right now is a great time to sit down and figure out what you have to do to finish the year and finish your contract. And then, moving forward, each of you, please do everything you can within your own little circle of influence, within your own job duties to help your agency meet its goals. So does anybody have questions or concerns about any of that? All right. Okay, into the main topic of today's is kind of some changes to licensure, and then I'll give the Wade control, and he can talk about what's going on with DOE and BPI stuff. So, is anybody aware of the DOPL, Department of or Division of Occupational and Professional Licensing, that there were some changes made to the S350 licensure, or the HVAC contractor licensure?
Well, that part where they dumbed it down so anyone can be an HVAC contractor now?
Yeah. Yeah. Are you guys aware of this at all? I don't know if anybody is, I'm just looking to see if anybody from 5 counties on the line, but I'm not sure if they are. Nope. So we just found out about this a couple of weeks ago, and Doug down at 5 County, down in Cedar City, he found out that they made some changes, and his agency had their either their B100 or their R100. So they had a general contractor's license, but they had been subcontracting their HVAC work. Doug found out they made some changes, and he paid DOPL $175, and they gave him his HVAC contractor's license. That's all he had to do.
So any of you can go be HVAC contractors now.
Yeah. In fact, I called Wade the other day and told him I'm now as qualified as he is because I have my R100, and so I don't even have to get my HVAC license. I can just go out and start doing HVAC work if I want to. I don't know if you guys have seen me around a furnace, but I'm not super qualified for this, but apparently the state thinks I am. So anyway, I've got a couple of things I did. I contacted DOPL. I went through the state it's like the statute on it, and I've got, if anybody wants any of the references, this is a great screenshot to take. But I talked to DOPL a couple of times and verified all of this, and these are some things that I learned. It doesn't just affect the HVAC contractor license, but I wanted to walk through these just so you guys are fully aware of what's going on. So the S350, the HVAC contractor license, is now considered a specialty contractor. So they have a couple of things that are not specialty contractors. Those are the B100 and the R100, which are just your general contractor licenses. And then plumber, electrician, and then they have a couple of other things that like a radon mitigation and a solar panel installer. Those things are different. Everything else, they basically call them specialty contractors.
Well, at least they call us HVAC guys special. That's something.
Very special. And what they changed is there is no employment experience required for licensure as a specialty contractor. So that includes HVAC contractors. So you no longer, in the past you had to have 2 years experience. You don't have to have that experience anymore. There are other requirements for this, but the biggest one is that you have to take a 25-hour course. And that's required just for the licensure as a specialty contractor. And it kind of covers like how to run a business, what the Utah state law is, how to file your taxes, things like that. At least that's what I was told.
So basically, business law has nothing to do with furnaces.
Yeah. So, but anyway, if your agency needs an HVAC contractor license, now is a great time to get it because the bar is very, very low. And then further down here, the holders of the B100 and the R100, they can perform mechanical work on a single family and multifamily residences up to 4 units. So right now, I hold an R100, and without getting my HVAC contractor license, I am now allowed to go perform mechanical work basically on everything except for commercial. So I don't have to get the license. Just as a general contractor, I can now go do that. So if your agency has a B100 or an R100, as of, I think it was sometime in November, I think November 15th of last year, that's when this rule became effective, you could be performing HVAC work on all the houses that you touch. And then they further went on to define mechanical, which was, you know, in the statute here, mechanical work, but they say mechanical is used in the 55.8.102 right there. That means work performed by an S350 HVAC contractor. So they were just clarifying that. But basically, they've lowered the bar, but the bar goes up and down. So if your agency needs its HVAC contractor license, now is a great time to get it. If your agency already has a B100 or an R100, for $175 more, you can also have your HVAC contractor license. And I think you would be wise to carry both in case they raise the bar in the future. I hope they do raise the bar in the future because I think that's my personal opinion. It's not the best thing for the industry, but right now is a great time to get it. If you've, anyway, strategically at your agency, just look at it, be aware of these changes, and if you need to do anything different, hopefully this will help guide you a little bit. Anybody have any questions on that?
Turner's exactly right. The bar is a moving bar, and there are groups out there aggressively fighting this right now as we speak. So next legislative session, it's probable that this might change. We'll see how hard the groups that are fighting can fight against the unions and the Home Builders Association is what it boils down to. So take advantage of it while the bar is low, I guess.
Yeah. Anybody else have anything on this one?
All right. You can see my screen. Let's see. I find the PowerPoint. Oh, first of all, I want to just remind you, I was going to have Turner show this, and I forgot. This was the feedback from the peer exchange. Was peer exchange valuable training experience? 100% positive. Was peer exchange a valuable training experience? 100% positive. So again, just a reminder, peer exchange, take advantage of it. Let's see, in order to get the PowerPoint presentation, I got it pulled up myself, don't I?
Yep.
Uh-huh. How's that?
That looks like
All right.
on the screen.
All right, I did it. God, look at me using technology.
You are amazing.
Good job, Wade.
As you all know, there has been significant changes to the energy auditor and QCI certification. So I just want to go through that and make sure that everybody understands what's happened with those certifications, what you need to be aware of, all that type of stuff. So they've removed the QCI as you know it. So the QCI is now a micro certification that goes on top of the energy auditor certification. So as of 4 days ago, the old QCI exam that you guys used to have to take, the field exam, no longer exists. And that written exam, that anyone who has taken the QCI written exam knows how horrible that exam is. One of the, in my opinion, one of the most worst constructed exams ever. The national fail rate on that was 60% or just over 60%. So that means that 60% of the people who were taking that QCI written exam nationwide were failing it. Part of the reason was because it was horribly constructed. I know the people that constructed the new one, and they assured me that it will be a much better exam that makes more sense, and it's only 50 questions. But to get to that, you got to go through Energy Auditor first, and they've completely redone the Energy Auditor exam. Changed the field exam around. They've added a lot of things. For those of you who've been through the process, the new Energy Auditor exam has 5 gated items in it. Everyone who's been through the process knows what a gated item is. You miss one gated item, you're done. No matter how you score it on the rest of the test, you missed a gated item, you automatically fail. We'll be preparing training and stuff to get you ready for that like we always do. The practice runs, all that fun stuff you get to do up here. I just barely got the new rubric for the exam, so me and Dalton have got to work on putting together a rubric that makes sense for us as proctors and that type of stuff, so just stay tuned for that. DOE and NREL and BPI have spelled it out really well. These flow charts are great. You know exactly what you need to do. So we'll start with if you want to earn a new energy auditor or renew an existing energy auditor certification, you just follow the path. So for a lot of you, you're going to be doing the renewal process. Do you have 24 CEUs? If the answer is no, okay, just follow along. If you have yes, okay, take the field exam. Did you pass the exam? Why do they have no going to take the field? I think this chart is screwed up, Turner.
No, it's saying take the written and field exam.
Sorry, take the written. Sorry, my bad. I was reading it wrong. If you do not have your CEUs, you have to take the written and the field. Sorry, my bad. My dyslexia this morning. If you do have your CEUs, you bypass the written exam and just take the field exam. Did you pass the exam? You're good for 3 years. You can retake the exam up to 6 times. Okay. If you're new, do you have the prerequisites? You must obtain your prerequisites. We'll talk about the prerequisites towards the end. You have to apply. You have to get a letter from BPI, blah, blah, blah. So a good screenshot to have if you're going to renew or get a new energy auditor certification so you know the path to follow. QCI, okay, so this is for a new QCI. You do not have one. You want to get one. Step 1, you have to earn the energy auditor certification. Once you have that, apply to take the QCI exam. Take the QCI 50-question written exam. Did you pass? Cool, you're a QCI. Okay. If you do not have an energy auditor certification and you want to become a QCI, of course you got to follow this long convoluted path over here. Okay. There are several of you that fall under this situation. You have a QCI certification and you want to renew it. Step 1, do you have your energy auditor? I know some of you are in this boat right now. No, you have your QCI, but you do not have your energy auditor. You've got to get your prereqs, obtain your prereqs, you've got to apply, you've got to take the energy auditor field exam. Notice no written. Did you pass the exam? Yes. Earn the EA. If you have 6 QCI specific CEUs, guess what? If you're an energy auditor, bam, you don't have to take any more tests. If you don't have 6 QCI specific CEUs, then you're going to have to take the written exam. I will be working on CEUs, whether we park them on the LMS or we do them on these technical meetings or whatever, that meet this criteria. 6 QCI specific CEUs. I don't know what that looks like yet because this is all new. It's just all rolled out 4 days ago, but don't worry, we'll make sure we have a mechanism to help you guys get this stuff put together. Any questions to this point?
Hey, Wade, I was going to just say, I took the QCI pilot. I think I got an 82% on it or something.
Mm-hmm.
Luckily, the passing score was down in the 70s, so I passed it, but it was kind of hard. It was a good test. Like, they did a much better job, but it was not a simple 50 questions. So
Good to know.
The CEU path is enticing.
Yes. Notice, CEUs, no test. CEUs, you go right on into certification. So keep your CEUs up. It saves you a step, saves you some headache, saves you some hassle. Okay, the prerequisites for energy auditor, because you got to be energy auditor first, okay? You have to have industry experience, and this is 1,000 hours of industry experience. This can be on a letter with your company letterhead signed by your boss stating that Matt Turner has 1,000 hours of industry experience doing XYZ for the weatherization program. You have to have 10 audits. It used to be 15. They dumbed it down to 10. But here's the issue. It used to be to prove those audits, you could send in a letter on company letterhead signed by somebody, your supervisor, that says, yeah, Matt Dalton's done 10 audits, and sign off on it. I've been hearing that they've changed that. They want to see your input reports. They want to see parts of the audit. So be aware of that. You're going to need to be able to really prove 10 audits, is it looks like where they've gone with it. Okay. And then you need 20 points from any combination of this. Building experience, which, by the way, they will not accept a contractor's license as building experience. At least that was my experience with them. Why they wouldn't accept a contractor's license as building experience, I have no idea. Industry-specific training. Any training you receive from the IWTC is industry-specific training. All you need to do is request a certificate from me, as long as you were actually at said training. And industry certifications, so your BPI certifications, your RMGA certifications. I don't think they count OSHA certifications. I might be mistaken on that. But anything that's industry-related certifications, those are your prerequisites you have to have in place. Any questions about that? Okay, I think that's the last slide. That's all I've got. I'm going to turn it back over to you, Turner.
Yeah. So I have put together a form. So for anybody who is needing to head down this path, like specifically for what's on the screen right now, where you've got to kind of check off your industry experience, you got to get your 10 audits and all that stuff. I actually have a form. I've been calling it the pathway to the energy auditor. And so if you need a copy of that form, just shoot me an email and I'll send it your way, and you can use it kind of as a checklist. It'll help you to look ahead and think about when you'll be ready, when you'll have completed all of your prerequisites. And the reason why that's important is if you're on the pathway to accomplish this, when you're done, you want to be able to come to the IWTC and actually take the test. And we need to know a couple of months in advance so that we can get that class on our calendar and get it ready for a couple of people. To run those classes, it's kind of resource intensive for us at the IWTC. It takes 2 bodies each day. So basically Wade and Dalton and I, and sometimes other guys that are proctors, have to be there all day. So we basically won't run that class without at least 3 or 4 people who are ready. So anyway, so make sure that you're communicating with us, you know, what your goals are and when you're going to be ready to take that test so that we can stay in front of that and get things scheduled out so that it works well for everybody. So
and on that note, any of you that are proctoring for us, so Jesse Wade, are you online?
Yep, sure am.
Okay. Did you see the thing from BPI for the webinar and the online exam you have to take to maintain your proctorshipness?
I did.
Okay, make sure you get that done.
Another thing to be aware of is sometimes that application process, once you submit it, like I got mine back pretty quick, but Wade's took forever for him to get back, so you want to get on that as soon as possible.
They're hit and miss on the time on those. Mine was literally 6 weeks from start to finish. And part of it was the back and forth argument with them about how a contractor's license is not proof of building experience, but that's a different story for a different day.
Yep.
I was just going to pull up a copy of that form real quick so you guys can see. Yeah, so this is an auditor in training application, but it applies to everybody who's working toward their QCI as well. So the state has some prerequisites, and this just lets you kind of put in some dates when you think you're going to finish, and then you can just check them off when they're done. There's some training, and then all the BPI prerequisites. Everything Wade just went over is right here. You have to do the 1,000 hours. You have to do 10 energy audits, and then you can kind of pick from the electives to get all of your points. So anyway, if you need that form, shoot me an email, and I'll send it to you. So.
Oh, Matt,
yeah.
There was one more thing I wanted to show. When you're ready, could you make me presenter one more time, please? Sorry, I forgot something.
Are you ready?
I am always ready.
All right. Here you go.
All right. Can everyone see the bpi.org login screen?
Yep.
Okay. So if you want more information about the Energy Auditor certification, you go to this bpi.org. You click on Get Certified, and you go down here, and for every certification they have a certification scheme handbook. This thing has got a wealth of information in it. Everything you need to know. Okay? Everything you need is in here. All the stuff. So if you're going to be going for Energy Auditor or renewing it under the new JTAs, okay, all that stuff is in here. All the new JTAs or KSAs, knowledge, skills, and abilities as we call them. All that stuff exists in this document. So that's where you find that document, okay. They also have it for QCI. So whatever you're going for, that's where you're going to find that document. I'm sure most of you, or you should all be familiar with this website. This is your candidate login or candidate portal. So you can come in here and see this dashboard is really good. So I know as of today I have 20 CEUs. I know when my certifications expire so I can keep track of them. That being said, we track all your certifications at the state also, so we'll be letting you know. But if you're unaware of this website, this is a great place to know where you're at, a quick snapshot of where you're at. You can go in and get a detailed report. So I can see, oh, what classes did I take recently that are approved and which ones have gone inactive because they're only active for so long. So I can see my approved and inactive classes. This is really important. Add continuing education credits. This is where you can go in and self-report, okay? So you can add CEUs, and if you are having a hard time finding CEUs, well, search for opportunities. There's nearly 500 online trainings for BPI CEUs that you can attend. So this is a great resource to make sure you stay on top of your CEUs and understand everything you need for BPI certification.
With that, everybody that's on this training live, I will send out a certificate of attendance at the end of this, which I've been doing every month. And when you go into self-report, you just upload that certificate of attendance, and they give you 1 CEU for listening to us today. They will only give it for those who attend live. That's why I keep asking, you know, if you attended live but you aren't listed, let me know. But if you watch it later, I can't give you credit for it. So I think most of you guys are self-reporting that, but there may be a few of you that aren't aware of that. So. Anyway,
so I turn it back over to you, Turner.
All right. So I had one other thing that I wanted to talk about if we had time today, and I'm kind of throwing Dalton under the bus on this one because I gave him like 10 minutes warning, right?
Yep.
So I was going to ask Dalton. We went into a house. We were monitoring the guys that are Utah Community Action. And we saw something that was just a good reminder, and I was wondering if Dalton could just talk about it for a bit. Tell us why it's good, why to keep it on your radar.
Yep. So we were monitoring a house where they had taken the CAZ and they tried to seal it up, isolate it from the house as best they could. They didn't do like a total isolation, but they have combustion air running in the appliances. And instead of doing, because it would have probably caused, if they closed up the combustion air and with sealing up the home, it would have probably caused the water heater to backdraft. And instead of doing that, they kind of isolated the CAZ. They put in a door that's weather stripped. They did a little bit of 1-part foam, a little bit of air sealing in the CAZ room. And they were able to keep the natural draft water heater in there, and it passed worst case draft. And so we've been seeing a ton of where you're going in a dressing ashtray, and then you're having to go back and put in a power vent water heater or direct vent water heater. And sometimes the solution, the most cost-effective solution, could be actually isolating the CAZ as well as you can. We know sometimes you're not going to be able to get total isolation. You still need to do a CAZ test or a CAZ test. But that is a lower cost solution than replacing water heaters. So that was kind of the context of that situation. And it worked well. They had the closet was all framed up, and they just added a door with a little bit of sheetrock and a little bit of air sealing in it. It made a good situation that could have cost a lot more money. So,
Question on that.
yep.
So if you do that, and say you have a zone pressure of 45 to 50, you have to rerun the audit with those walls being out of the envelope and possibly insulate the CAZ walls?
Well, this one they didn't isolate the walls from the. Let's see, they ran.
Yes.
They put in an exterior door, and they actually did put in insulation, yes. They treated it as an exterior. They did insulate and air seal those walls, yes. Before, I guess that one was 3 because it was kind of backed up against a garage exterior wall, but so. Yes, Turner, would that be right? They would need to rerun it to pay for the insulation?
The most correct way to run the audit would be to do that. I wouldn't get too hung up on it if it was a small CAZ. If you ran your audit saying that here's the existing walls, and then you just, as part of the measure, you knew you were going to insulate and basically make that your thermal boundary, I think I'd be okay with it. But if you're an auditor and you're looking at this thinking this is the way we're going to run this play, then run your audit that way and tell the audit that you're going to have a door here, and tell it what kind of door, and tell it that you're going to have this stuff insulated. But I wouldn't have too much heartburn either way on that one. I wouldn't spend hours trying to rerun the audit to make it align.
Turner, can they air seal the CAZ like in that situation under as kind of like a health and safety to get the water heater to pass?
Yeah.
As a health and safety measure?
I would write I'd write this up as a health and safety measure, and it would be to isolate the CAZ. And that would include the framing, the insulation, the door, the air sealing. You can see they've got some blue board up here where they air sealed in the floor joists. Is that okay? Is it okay for us to put the foam up there?
Do you have pictures, Matt? I don't see anything on my end.
Oh, am I not sharing the screen?
It would have probably helped me if I
Plaster.
Seen those.
Duct insulation.
Maybe I haven't seen it on the screen. Here you go. Is this better?
There we go.
Hey.
There's a little.
Yeah, so here's inside the CAZ. So I think that the framing went to right here to this electrical panel. So the agency, and I'll flip through the pictures here in a second, but the agency basically framed a little bit of wall here, and then they framed this wall here. And you can see that they did a little blue board up here, which the code allows us to do. If this is our thermal boundary, that would be our band joist, and the code allows us to have up to 3 inches of foam plastics up there. So that's a great material to air seal up there. But yeah, you could add the framing, the door. Let me flip through these photos real quick and show you. So they installed this drywall and the door, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe some of it was already there. But one of the things we're running into is like the cost of a direct vent water heater is $1,300, $1,400, $1,500 plus the labor to install it. And I really just wanted to share this with everybody because I've kind of forgotten about this as one of our possible approaches. Like these guys actually had this double door in their warehouse from back in the ARA days, so it only cost them $300 or $400. This one would be a little more now, but a single door, that's insulated steel door, we're still talking. You could do something like that for $300 or $400, and some drywall and insulation might be less expensive than installing a direct vent water heater. And if in this case, I think the reason I kind of forgot about this was I was under the mistaken idea that we had to completely isolate the CAZ, that when we were all done, that had to be 50 pascals when we're doing our zonals. It had to be completely out of the envelope. And these guys reminded me that it doesn't have to be completely out of the envelope. If you do your combustion air right, which they did, so the combustion air was in the CAZ. It was ample without the duct tape. It was ample for the water heater. And, we had a direct or a sealed combustion furnace going on, so we just had to make sure we had combustion air for the water heater now. And where this was in a corner against an exterior wall already, it was a great opportunity for them to do this. And what happens in the future when the water heater fails?
The homeowner can put in a regular standard water heater.
Yeah, they're going to run down to Home Depot and buy the $500 or $600 water heater, and they want to stick that back in. If we gave them the direct vent, they're going to put the $600 one in. They're not going to put the $1,400 one in. So anyway, just keep it in mind as one of the tools you can use in some situations.
Yep.
So it's not the perfect solution. We don't want to start seeing this everywhere, but in some situations, this is a great solution. In others, it's not. So does anybody have any comments or concerns about this one or questions? Did we answer your questions, Jesse, on how it should look on the audit?
Yeah, for the most part. I just didn't know if we also needed a duct insulation, and if it was at a 45 or 50, if we have to do a duct blaster and all that stuff too.
We talked about duct insulation, and I feel like if you got into a situation where you would like to insulate the duct, you could address it. I'm just flipping through to see if I don't know if I had.
While you're flipping through, and I don't see us addressing this so much as a ECM. I'm seeing it more as a health and safety measure to keep from having to replace the water heater, to make a safe combustion zone for that water heater without having to replace the appliance with a power direct vent. That's what I kind of see this tool as in those situations where it's applicable, is more not so much of a, I mean, you do want to air seal and insulate the walls to help with energy, but it's more to isolate it to make a safe combustion air zone for that appliance to draft properly. That's how I see this tool being used.
Yeah.
So that's why, like, the duct not being insulated, it's not, usually there's not a ton of duct work in there anyways, but that's not a big thing on my radar because I don't see this tool being used as a energy conservation measure. It's more of a health and safety, address the water heater backdrafting issue. That's how I see it being used. So, but
yeah, and that's, Jesse has a very legitimate point. You can see we have some ductwork coming in, so that's going to come across the ceiling inside there, and it is uninsulated. But that's, I feel the same way as Dalton. Like, if we're talking about a minimal amount of ductwork, I'm okay with us leaving it alone. If you could add that to the cost and insulate that, that would be great. But but it really, I feel like it's a better solution in some situations, just because we know what's going to happen in the future. So if you came into a house and there's a brand new natural draft water heater and other conditions are conducive to doing something like this, it's a better route to go. If you got an old water heater that's natural draft and you're going to be back there in a year or two to replace that thing as a crisis, then think about it a little differently is all. So we kind of get to do a custom solution for every house in some of these situations. So anyway, thank you guys to Utah Community Action for doing this, and thanks for letting us use it as an example. And thank you guys for all your hard work. We really do appreciate it. We understand. We see what you guys are doing. We're seeing some great work out there. And just let us know how we can help you. Shoot us an email, give us a call. We are here to help. So anybody have anything else before we end?
Hey, Turner, I need presenter one more time for 3 minutes.
Okay.
It was just brought to my attention, something that they all need to know.
All right. Here you go.
So BPI sent out an email a while ago telling us that they had updated all the certification scheme handbooks. Brad, who, believe it or not, reads everything, sent me a text and said, you better go back and look at that certification scheme handbook that you just showed on the website. They have not updated yet, apparently. I'm actually going to send BPI an email today when we're done with this and ask them what up with this. They're still saying you need 15 comprehensive whole house audits. The other thing that Brad wanted me to point out was that when he was back at NASCAP, they said in lieu of 10 audits, you could attend a energy modeling software training, kind of like what Turner's going to be putting on. And as long as you can pass an end of class assessment, which is a test on said energy modeling training, they would accept that in lieu of the 10 audits, because they realize you all got to produce widgets. And to pull a QCI to go do 10 audits can affect your production. So they have not updated this apparently yet. So my bad for not realizing that before I pulled it up and showed it to you. But I will be sending BPI an email asking. I thought you guys updated all this stuff to roll out with the new certification scheme. So just an FYI.
Cool.
And Wade, the other thing on that too was one of the things that was brought up in that discussion with that session, and so you had DOE and everybody, he was literally texting BPI while he was up there, is you don't have to go out for those 10 audits and actually collect the stuff in the field. You could take audits that have already been done and just use the data collection forms from the field, and just you would have this new person, this new candidate would enter those and actually do the function of running the audit in the audit modeling software. So you don't have to send the person out to the field and do all those things. You can use data from jobs that you've already done.
There you go.
Yeah, I've talked to one agency who they're sending their auditor out, and the auditor's doing his normal job, but he's being shadowed by a QCI, and that QCI will go back and run the exact same audit that the auditor is running, because the QCI is doing it to get his prerequisites. The auditor's doing the audit to do his job. But yeah, just exactly what Brad said. You know, you can. The goal is to actually sit down and have the experience of running the audit and to wrap your head around how everything works together and how the audit is run and why it's run the way it's run. So you guys can find ways that will work for you that will hopefully not slow down your production. Cool.
Anyway, that was it. Do you need the screen back, Matt, or you just want me to close it?
Let's go ahead and end if nobody has anything else. Thank you guys for attending, and have a great day.
Thank you very much.